And we're back for the first time, but not the last time. I did something crazy today, y'all. I set my dog free. I let him go. I spoke to him. He's a pretty smart dog. I spoke to him, I looked him in the eyes, and I said, "You are free. You're free to go. I am giving you your freedom. You are free to go." I even took his collar off. And I told him, I dropped the collar on the floor, and I told him, "You're free to go. You're free to go wherever you want to. I'm not your owner anymore. You are free to go." Do you know what he did? He just sat there. And he looked at me. At one point in time, I thought he was going to take off, but he didn't. He had a little grin on his face. But he probably thought about, like, who's going to feed me? But no, I say that to say that some people are actually still enslaved. Some people are still enslaved. Their minds are still enslaved. See, their bodies are free. They're allowed to go wherever they want to go. You can catch the train, you can catch the bus, you can hop on a plane, you can drive, you can get on a ship, you can walk anywhere you want to. So you're free, right? You have your freedom. You were given your freedom. You were told to leave. But guess what, though? Your mind is still on that plantation. Some of your minds are still enslaved. We see so many examples of this every day on a regular basis. People whose minds are still enslaved to a system that was supposed to be destroyed a long time ago, but it obviously is not. You want to know why? Because those who are enslaved, those whose minds are still enslaved, their bodies are free. They're free to go wherever they want to. But those whose minds are still on the plantation, they keep it alive. What do you mean? Is that what you're asking me? What do I mean? They're keeping it alive by always playing victim, by always blaming another group of people, by always blaming someone else for their troubles, by always blaming the system. See, they even have names for it. The man, the system, them, the powers that be, the colonizers. Yeah, they have so many names for that which keeps their minds enslaved. Oh, we're going to get deep tonight. Some of y'all aren't ready for this conversation, so you may turn away. You may, watch something else. By all means, this wasn't meant for you then, because we're going to get deep tonight. And some of you who are going to turn away from this video, well, let's just say that you're one of the enslaved minds I'm talking about. So of course it's hard for you to listen to this. It's very hard for you to comprehend it when you are living it. Yeah, you're living it. You say you're free. Just think about this for a minute. You are in a country that allows you to do whatever it is you want. Yes, we're all living in this country, are we not? So there's no way you can tell me it isn't so. You are allowed to be, you are allowed to say, and you are allowed to go wherever it is you please. Wherever it pleases you to go, you can. Whatever you want to do, you can. Whatever you want to become, you can. So how is it you still talk about how we are being oppressed, how we are still in chains, how we are still locked up, how we are still slaves? How do you keep bringing this up without me thinking that you're a race baiter, without me thinking that this is what gets you off, this is how you get paid? Some of y'all even get paid for it. There's many activists on YouTube, on IG, on Facebook that pander to a certain demographic. They pander to a certain group because they get paid from it. You'll see them at the riots. Oh, they're not rioting anything. They're soft as a cupcake. They're not rioting anything. They're on the sidelines. Yeah, they're the ones instigating it. Have you not noticed that? They are the ones on the sidelines instigating for everyone else to riot, to loot, to get violent. Yes, but they will not hurt a fly. They won't bust a grape in the fruit fight. They're soft, they're sweet. But do you know what they have? Your mind. That's why I said your minds are still enslaved. Because people like that still hold control of your mind. Enslavement is what? Control. Someone else controls you. They tell you what to do, when to do it, and you actually do. You may say that you're free. Yeah, you're free to go wherever you want to. But your mind is still enslaved, which is the most important thing. Your mind is the only thing that they have they cannot take away from you. The only way they can get it is by what, class? By you giving it up. And you've been giving it up for years. You give total control of your mind. Like you don't need it. You allow them to shape your narrative. You allow them to create your world. Everything they say, you believe them. You watch their videos all the time. You watch their channels. You consume their content. And you just sit there, mind enslaved, believing everything that you are told. This is what y'all do. You believe everything that you're told. And I hope most of y'all do not turn away from this video. You sit there and you watch it. You drive and you listen to it. Because it might hurt some of y'all, but it can help a lot. It can help you get out of this enslavement. It can help you get off of the plantation. Don't worry, I'm not going to tell that you're trying to get away. Someone else will do that. The same ones that say that we're enslaved, they're the ones who will turn you in. Do you not see how hypocritical that is? The same ones that talk about a system and we're being put down and we're being held back, and they're the same ones that will tell when you try to get off of that plantation. They're the same ones that will tell on you when you decide that you actually want to be free. Because freedom is not just bodily, it's mentally. It's not just physically, it's mentally. Total freedom is when you are free mentally and no one can control your mind nor tell you what to think, because you think for yourself. And most of y'all do not think for yourselves at all. Most of y'all do not think for yourselves at all. Look at all the videos on social media now. Look at the stuff that some people are talking about. If it's a spouse, a relative, a friend that you knew 10 years ago that did not think like this, and now they're on social media just repeating the most hateful rhetoric, the most ignorant rhetoric that you have ever heard. This isn't like them, is it? They weren't like this 10 years ago. Well, what happened between then and now? Their minds were captured. Whether it's social media, television, their minds were captured and they were made to think the way that they think now. Because if you ask them to substantiate any of their talking points, any of their views, they can't. They don't know what to say. They don't know what to say. They will start with the ad hominems, start calling you names, the insults. Yes, like a child. That's what a child does when they have no explanation. And that's exactly what they start doing, because they have no explanation for what they have been repeating, what they've heard. It's not their view. They don't believe, they honestly don't believe it, but they have been brainwashed to think like other people do. Yes, we must rise up. We must riot. We must boycott. What are you boycotting? What are you boycotting? In this day and age, what are you boycotting? Because trust and believe these companies are still going to make their money. So is that any way to fight a system that you say is holding you down? You're wasting your time. So what if 30 of you go down to the nearest store to boycott because you do not align with whatever that race hustler told you didn't align with, whatever they told you to think? So what if you go down to the store to boycott? 30 of you? Are you serious? 30 people? Okay, I'll give you 50. What are you hurting? It's not that company. The only thing you're hurting are your feet. And from standing on the ground all day, boycotting, protesting. Yes. Protests, they do not work now. Because what you should be concentrating on is working towards building up your community, working towards building yourself up. If we all work together, there's nothing that we can't do. Right? Right. If we all work together, there's nothing that we cannot do. So why is it we refuse to work together? You have me on the right and you're on the left. You have me going up, you're going down. Why must we all resist what is good for us, which is working together? I understand there are things out there that, are thrown in our faces to separate us. All the groups, all the names, all the categories that they have. All of that was created for separation. Let's be real. All of that was created for separation. They want to separate us and have us separated. Yes. Because you cannot control a population when everyone aligns and everyone is fighting for the same issues, for the same problems. When everyone's views align, you cannot control the population, so you must have separation. So all these titles, they were made to separate us. Rich, poor, middle class, black, white, red. All these were made to separate us. The political names, Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative. Do you see what I mean? It's all made to separate us. And we fall for it every time. Well, y'all fall for it. I don't. I'm actually glad that I recently started thinking completely for myself, because I have never thought for myself completely in the past. I haven't. I must admit that. I told y'all, I'm here to tell the truth. I'm here to be truthful to y'all. I haven't always thought for myself. I noticed that now, because some of the views that I had 10 years ago, I sit here and I'm like, what was I thinking? What was going through my mind? Like, seriously, I'm a totally different person now. I mean, I don't recognize myself anymore. My views have changed. And I'm talking about upside down, flipped upside down. They have completely changed. I'm off that plantation. My mind is not enslaved anymore, even though sometimes I catch myself drifting. It's hard not to drift. As human beings, it is hard for our minds not to drift back to that plantation. You were asleep then. You were comfortable then. You didn't see everything. It's like you were in a fishbowl. Because if I can predict how you think, you're in a fishbowl. Because I know exactly where you're going to go, how you're going to go, who you're going to go with. I know everything about you. And that's what this game is, to keep you on the plantation, in a fishbowl. That's what the plantation is. When you bust out, you escape that plantation and you're running on the grass barefoot. You hear the dogs chasing you. There's nothing like it. Mental freedom is the greatest thing ever. So why are y'all still enslaved? And I know, this video is going to reach a lot of people who don't care. They don't. They will forever be on the plantation. That is how they were made to think. Anything that you come at them with logically, truthfully, oh, they combat it. Yes, they combat it. They cannot have that. They were taught to do this. They were taught to shut off, shut down whenever the truth is being told. Because in order to get you off of the plantation, you must open your eyes and you must see everything for what they are. But you allow others to tell you how to think. You allow others to tell you what to think. That's despicable. You being the beautiful human being that you are, you were born free. You were born naked. No clothing. You were born free. You didn't have a collar around your neck. You didn't have a leash around your neck. No, you were born free. You had no control over your mind. You were absorbing everything then. You were learning. But at one point in time, you stopped learning. You stopped learning. And you started to absorb the wrong things. And those things started to shape your narrative, and they started to shape your worldview, and they started to shape your matrix. And now you see things totally different. Now you're complaining about everything. Now you are crying about everything. I just saw this yesterday. People are crying on social media for who the president is. They're crying over the deportation efforts. They're crying over they cry over everything. I don't get that. I really don't. Aren't you supposed to be living? But yet you are crying over something so minute. And the craziest thing is that those same people would not cry for all the missing children. They would not cry for all those missing children. They didn't say a word. Not one peep. For all the fentanyl coming through the border, killing hundreds and thousands of Americans, not one tear. They didn't cry at all. All the victims, not one tear. They didn't cry at all. But yet they will get on social media and cry over criminals being deported. And here's where the lie comes in. I even heard some of them say the children. See how they had to throw that in there? They love to play with your heartstrings. Yeah, they love to pull your heartstrings. Yes, you hear the violin music? I hear it now. They love to play with your heart because they know that's where they get you. Yes, some of y'all think you think with your heart. That's why you get hurt so much. You don't think logically. You don't think with your mind. You think with your heart, with your feelings. You go with how you feel instead of what you think. And they know this, so they play with your emotions. They're deporting the children. That's how they play with you. And what do you do in return? Oh, you're in an uproar. What? They are deporting who? No, we cannot have this. We are going down to the Capitol right now. Yes. And here's the funny thing. You wouldn't hurt a fly. You wouldn't hurt a fly at all. You wouldn't hurt a fly, but yet you're in an uproar. For what? You don't even know. You don't even know. They told you that you should be in the uproar, and that's exactly what you did. You're in the uproar now. Now you're on TikTok. Now you're on IG. Now you're on YouTube making videos about something you have no knowledge of. You're just going with how you feel. And then you wonder why you look like an idiot later on, and you have to delete that video. See, I'll never have to delete anything that I post because I'm speaking to you directly. And trust and believe, I think about everything I talk about. I don't go with how I feel. If I went with how I felt, then I would be all over the place. See, feelings are fleeting. One day you're happy, one day you're sad, the next you're mad, then you're frustrated. Feelings are fleeting. You're all over the place when you go with how you feel. I don't go with how I feel, ever. I go with what I think. Most of y'all, it's your feelings. That's why we have to tiptoe around you. It's your feelings. It's how you feel. Well, it's how I think. And I think some of y'all have lost your minds. Yes, you have lost your mind, complaining about everything, and you turn everything into a race issue. That's the problem that I have, because everything is not about race. It shouldn't be about race. When you keep revisiting that subject of race, you keep it alive. You're keeping it alive. And that's exactly what I was talking about earlier. You're keeping it alive. That's why it's alive, because you keep talking about it. Why can't you get past it? This is the future. Think about your ancestors decades ago. If they were living today, do you know how proud and happy they would be? Think about that. But instead, you're talking about we're still oppressed. Oh, they still got their foot on our necks. Oh, this group is not allowing us to do anything. Oh, what? If we weren't allowed to do anything, then why are there so many black millionaires, black billionaires? Let's be real. Let's be real here. But you have those few people who love to keep things stirred up. And how do they keep it stirred up? By keeping us separate and by coming up with race. Race separates us into different groups. Whatever race you belong, you think you belong to, that's the race you're going to stick with. So that's how they separate us, and they feed off of the hatred for the next group. Yes, they feed off of the hatred. Some people feed off of hatred. They love it. That is why they keep things stirred up. Instead of giving off love, they feed on the hate. So they have you hate other people for no apparent reason. You don't even know why you're marching. You don't even know why you're boycotting. You don't even know why you're protesting. You're just there. Well, I hope you have fun, because you won't see me since you're still on that plantation. Until next time, y'all be good.
If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more content.